outside of airsoft, my Monday through Fridays, I work for a firearm store, and a lot of the real guys that I work with, and I'm saying real guys, they work Team One, the face of HK. When HK came to America, I worked with one of those gentlemen. I worked for a gentleman that worked in Passaic County SWAT for several years, as well as just guys that have been doing the job. And when I express to them, like, they come to me like, what qualifies you to even, be in here? And I'm like, well, outside of what I do currently, I've worked a lot of my life, and a lot of it is warehousing and Excel spreadsheets and just understanding accountability. And so I do the shipping and receiving for a firearm store, and I also do airsoft on the weekend. So when a customer comes up and they're just like, what's the best firearm? So I could point them into the firearm that I could get them to, but the whipping, when I go grab that firearm off that wall and I start to manipulate it in a way, they go, hey man, I'm gonna buy that. By the way, like, can you train me? And I'm just like, I'm just a huge nerd.
You're like, I have a special interest.
Yeah, everybody's back to the special interest.
Nerd,
but here's the ultimate truth,
Yeah.
right? And here's the hot take, right?
Take it.
So, airsoft in no way is a good, perfect. I'm sorry.
Correct.
Airsoft in no way is a perfect training scenario for the real world, right? There have been many airsoft events, specifically a specific producer, where at the end of the event, I've had Hall of Fame Rangers at the end be like, I would go to combat with any of you. And then I look at Mario and I'm just like, I wouldn't go to combat with any of you. Right?
I've once asked you, I was like, so if the apocalypse happened, like, are we gonna team up and
we're tagging up.
No. And Davis like, fuck no, you fucking idiots are gonna get us all killed.
Yeah, no. However, comma pause for effect, which is a throw out to my buddy Parker. There are good aspects of airsoft, and I will tell you this: when it comes to CQB, in terms of repetitions, weapons handling, I've seen airsofters that put Force Recon to fucking shame because the way you learn lessons in the military is JoJo goes in first. Oh, he's dead. Now I go in. Oh, fuck, I'm dead. Now the third guy goes in. Oh, he's wounded. Hey, third guy, what'd you see? Well, I saw the first two guys die, and then I went to pie right, and I got shot in the shoulder. So I think we need to pie a little quicker. Whereas with airsoft, it's like, oh, you're hit, go back to respawn. Boom, back in.
Oh, yeah.
So the amount of repetitions, quote unquote, real world repetitions, and I use that term extremely loosely. The kid with a Polar Star and a Di-4 is going to learn more in one day than the U.S. Army in fucking 50 years.
Yeah.
So by the end of the day, he knows how to pie. Dude, airsofters can pie a corner fucking 1,000 times better than anybody ever fucking in the Marine Corps that I work with. Right now, granted, I'm an old school, like got out in 2007, so there's been a lot of changes since then. So in terms of weapons manipulation, actually physically holding the rifle in your hand and working a corner, dude, hands down, specifically with pieing corners and shit, airsofters get it done, man. Like now, everything outside of individual action, airsofters suck at because nobody wants to work with somebody else, especially if they don't know that other person. Oh man, like teamwork is the dream work, and that's what makes the U.S. military fucking unbeatable.
Right.
But honestly, the lessons learned through airsoft in 1 8-hour day of open play is worth 50 years of fucking like real world experience, dude.
Yeah. So
beyond cover concealment and that type of things, but. I'm generalizing so much, and I know the comments are going to be like, bleh, bleh, bleh. But I need you just to focus on this one aspect I'm talking about. The repetitions involved for that fucking 15-year-old with a Di-4. And like, he's going to learn more in that fucking day than a military will in 50 years. Because because the people that learn the lessons are dead.
Yeah.
They can't tell you.
Right.
You know what I mean?
You can't learn from your mistakes. You don't get that opportunity.
Correct.
Yeah. Like maybe from a bird's eye view, but even then it's a bird's eye view. Whereas this guy's learning first person, like what I did wrong, what I should have done.
Constantly.
And so I think there's value to airsoft when it comes to training, but there's absolutely limitations for sure. But there's even more limitations with sim rounds. Like sim rounds are hands down not the best for training. I've used them. I've used sim rounds. I've used UTMs. They're not the best all around. Airsoft is the best.
Why? Right. Because
man.
I would say airsoft, right? Then sim round, then
No.
live fire, like live fire, you know?
Yeah,
Well,
I've talked to different people that have a lot of different views on that. So like the guys that came and did SWAT training at the field, one of the guys,
Airsoft.
he told me that they use sims. He's like, they would not consider using airsoft for any of their training. He's like, we use sims. In his opinion, it was like the sims is the closest thing you can get to actually manipulating a real firearm, which
Yes.
you are using
Yes.
in a real firearm. You're
That is
changing
true.
the
That's
bolts
the
and running
selling
different
point.
rounds.
But what are you training, right? So
Yeah.
So when you're doing those force on force exercises, what are you training? Are you training your weapon manipulation in terms of bolt and magazine, or are you training your unit movement? If you're training unit movement and unit cohesion, then you might as well have broomsticks in your hand.
I was gonna say
Doesn't
games
matter.
and Nerf
Sure,
guns.
right.
Doesn't fucking matter,
Mm-hmm.
right? And the limitations on UTM and sim rounds, which I've used both, are abysmal. You can get in a big building and your UTM will not hit where you aim across a large building, right? Whereas with airsoft, you can hit what you're aiming at with the same amount of reaction time or whatever the fuck. Like the only difference is that it doesn't mark you, right? And I
Sure.
went to, a long time ago in a galaxy far, far away, I started a training company called Pale Horse Tactical Training Company. It didn't go anywhere, but we went to the Tactical Officers Association, New York Tactical Officers Association, what are they called? Expo, right? And right next to us was Simunition, right? UTM didn't exist. UTM did exist, but they weren't there at that particular one. And our argument was like, all the law enforcement came up to us and we showed them our guns and everything, and they were like, "Wow, these are really good." And like yeah, because your departments are buying shit guns. Like these are what they could be. You know, this is how you could do it. And every time you pull the trigger, it's 0.08 cents a round.
Right. And there were KWA, gas blowback.
Oh, they were nothing. They were
Yeah.
like garbage, right? And I was like, "How much is a sim round?" 51 cents a round. 51. They were more than real ammo back then.
Mm-hmm.
And they were like, "Yeah, but it doesn't mark the target." I'm like, that doesn't matter.
So does me shooting you, breaking skin.
That doesn't matter
Sure, yeah.
because you're in a training environment.
Right.
Hey, role player, did you get hit? Yes, I got hit right here.
100%.
Like, why would the role player be like, "Nah, you didn't hit me.
Right.
Gun hit, bitch."
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. Nope.
like who are your role players?
Right.
Maybe you should check out your role players. You know, it made no sense. And they're like, "Oh, but then the weapons manipulation." I'm like, well, what are you training? Are you training that? Go to the range. Go to the live fire range.
Mm.
You're training unit movement,
Force on force.
right?
Yeah.
Doesn't matter. Just make sure
Right.
the guns work. Like that's all you need, right? I think airsoft has a place in training. It's just not the ultimate trainer, and I think that lessons can be learned a lot faster through airsoft, much cheaper, and all it would take is one officer to go to Anttech Airsoft Studios custom course for $39.99 for fucking 3 weeks, and just learn how to maintain
Right.
an airsoft gun.